As do all great love stories. Brother reached out to me on MySpace, asked me to collaborate for something for his album, and I checked out his stuff, I dug his material, and we did a couple songs together. After doing, I think, completing 2 or 3 records that we did initially. After completing those songs, I mentioned him to the brother who was kind of like my agent in Japan. I just let him hear the stuff. I was like, it's reminiscent of what I did for my first solo record out there. And I think if we did a full project together, it could be something special. So, check it out, let me know what you think. He heard it, was impressed. We kept working from there, and that's how we ended up here. I guess you could probably give them some background on how you got introduced to my stuff, and then I'll kind of go
Yeah,
back to
when I was in high school, I started making beats around like sophomore year. Um, I'd heard of a producer named Ninja Buzz like I think about 8th grade or so. One of my friends from California has brought up some of his music, and the first time I actually heard the type of music that really kind of spoke to me in that way. So I got really into that sound and started to create my own style from that. And one of the first albums that I heard was To This Communion the Sun Was Born, which is his first solo album in Japan. It was pretty much produced by Nujabes and another producer named DJ Backstream. So after I listened to that, I started crafting my own style around that, and I seeked him out on MySpace. It's like the only form of communication that I really knew how to get in touch with, and kind of just went from there. Did one track for my album, and just stumbled from there.
yeah, and, as far as how I ended up having a relationship with Nujabes, it was just kind of part. I don't want to say it's luck. My friend says all the time, I don't believe in luck. I just believe in hard work. I worked really hard to position myself to be in New York at the time, and I knew my mom knew I was going to New York to go to school. I knew I was going to New York to pursue music, so that was always the plan for me. But the art was also a part of it too. While there, uh, I was classmates with a brother named Tomo. He was also a rapper named Sphere of Influence. His brother at the time was arguably like the most popular rapper in Japan. He goes by the name Zebra. Like at the time, people would say he's like Rock him. That's what they used to say. I'm like, wow. They say that to me. Like my eyes are huge. I'm like, bro, that's major. So anyway, we exchanged numbers. We hang out from time to time. At the time, my DJ, he's a hip hop artist now. Goes by the name of This One. But back then, he was just DJ Biscuit, and I call him. I was like, he's the blackest white guy I know. He made a mixtape at the time and asked me to do a couple tracks on it. So I did just that. And Tomo just happened to take a copy with him to Japan. While in Japan, he was working at a record store for this local DJ slash producer, who y'all know as Nujabes. And one day he comes up to him, now here's my Nujabes accent. Do you know any great MCs who live in New York right now? Who's really hot right now? And then he's like, well, you should probably check out my boy Substantial. He's pretty good. And so he lets him hear this mixtape. He liked what he heard, and he asked for my contact number. Now, most of the time, there's usually an introduction or some heads up that people give you. There was none of that. I just get a call from him directly just one day, and I used to do landscaping work. So when you come home, you don't want to do anything. You don't talk to anyone. You're just mad at the world. Want to punch someone in the face. That's how you really feel. At least that's how I felt. And so I get a call from him, and I hang with clowns. A lot of my friends are some of the funniest people you'll ever meet. And long story short, when he called me, I thought it was a practical joke, so I almost hung up the phone on him. And so, because I hear him, he said, hello, may I speak to, how you say, Substantial? I'm like, hey, this ain't funny. I'm really tired. I will hang up the phone. Who the hell is this? And but nah, he was serious. And long story short, he said, "Hey man, I like what I heard from Tomo. If you send me some more of your material, I'll check it out. And you know, if I like what I hear, man, I'll fly you to Japan. You know, you stay here a month. We'll record an album, see what happens." Like mind officially blown. You know, I mean, everything I knew about Japan, I knew from a kid who I met in kindergarten, who used to share his lunch with me because his lunch was so unique, and I was a little chubby kid. I just liked food, and he didn't have food I had. I wanted his food, and so everything I knew about Japan, I knew from this dude and another kid in second grade at the time, and then anime eventually. So Japan was cool to me. So like we hooked up. I signed a contract with him in '99. He flew me out there in 2000. We recorded 25 songs in a month. I practically lived in the studio at the time. I had a studio apartment out there, and would be in the studio with Ninja Best for a minimum of 8 to 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. And yeah, when we weren't doing that, we were networking and doing different things like that. But you know, I mean, it was an awesome experience. To this day, I don't know this for sure, but just from conversations I've had with Shingo, Fat John, Pace Rock, and other artists who worked with him, it would appear that I have recorded more like songs with him than any other artist. To date, we have roughly maybe 40, around 40 songs that we did together, that we recorded over the years. So there's a lot of unreleased material that I did with him that most people have never heard. I actually gave him a CD full of it. So God forbid something happened to me, you know, you go ahead, feel free to rob Marcus. Right. But I mean, it was an honor working with him. You know, I tell Marcus all the time. He's probably he was one of the toughest people to work with, though. You know, we were both very opinionated people. He was a very opinionated brother when he was here, and we clashed a lot. So the reason why those studio sessions were so long is because we'd spend 2 to 3 hours like arguing about the delivery of the song, and I would take like this as you know, as a cocky American, you tend to get offended when someone who is like their second language, they're telling you how you should say it. So like it took me a while to get used to it. Like, I think you should say like, hey man, what do I tell you how to speak Japanese? Do I do that? I don't do that. You know? And so like I mean, from stuff like that to, you know, like maybe the approach to this beat should be a little different. You name it, we fought over it. But it was a learning experience for me. Like when I record today, some techniques that I learned while working with him, I still use to this day. So I'm grateful for it. Like most people, I was very sad when I found out he passed away. Marcus was actually the first person to tell me, and it was crazy because sometimes even when you know that your relationship like is in a good place now, you think about like for some reason you think about all of those fights, you know, all of those times just kind of bickering with the person, how much time you wasted arguing about things that are kind of trivial now, you know what I mean? So I definitely kind of went through that for a while. And I had a period of time where I didn't write anything for like well over a month, just kind of reflecting on everything. And then plus at the time, the week that I found out he passed, which wasn't the time that he actually passed. He actually passed 3 weeks before the world knew. But his family kept it secret, took that their privacy. But the time that I found out, like literally, my uncle had passed away that Tuesday. That Wednesday was the anniversary of my father's death, and then News the Best, I found out about him the day after. So yeah, it was kind of it was rough. It was rough. Then I had a show the same night that and like and you know people who knew I knew him, you know, it's kind of like I try to be a professional. You know, I joke around with you, and take pictures, hang out, all of that. But I try to get in my little zone when it's time to rock. Right before I go on, I had no intent of rocking any of the songs I did with him. That wasn't the original plan. It was a short set, so I was trying to do new material. But right before I go on, the DJ plays one of his guns. This DJ has never. I've been to 20 events he's done. He's never played a Beach Best track. But like right before I go on, he plays it, and like I'm putty. You know what I mean? It's like broke me like right before I went up. Like I remember that real clearly, and it just like it changed my career in a lot of ways too, because now it's almost expected when I go out. Like people expect that, we can share something like from our relationship and from us working together. Where before it was kind of like if I met a fan who really knew about this stuff, I was surprised. Like every now and then I do a show, and maybe someone's like, "Oh, you didn't do blessing, oh, you didn't do this." But prior to him passing away, it's not that anyone didn't care. It's just it bothers you as an artist to know that you're probably going to be more popular than you're dead and gone. Like that's a tough pill for anyone to swallow. As a family man, I'm definitely happy about the idea to know that my family's going to get some extra money for a couple, couple months to maybe a year and a half or so. But that definitely is a wake up call for me. And I think Marcus would agree with me. Like we both have a crazy work ethic. And we probably do. I don't want to say we